There was this sudden, collective gasp across social media the second the headlines started circulating, and if you were watching the morning broadcasts, you could almost feel the phantom tension hanging in the air. 4 million of viewers up and down the country, turning on the television and seeing Bradley Walsh isn't just entertainment, it is an emotional constant, a familiar comfort built over more than 2 decades. So when whispers began spreading that the flagship quiz show holding British tea times together might be pulling back on production, the reaction online was immediate and deeply protective. But behind the sudden wave of headlines and fan anxiety lies a story that is far more extraordinary than simple television scheduling. To truly understand why Bradley Walsh occupies such a sacred, affectionate space in British popular culture, you have to look past the sparkling studio lights and trace his journey back to a moment where his entire future was practically handed to him in a pink slip. It's genuinely fascinating when you strip away the polished ITV sheen and realize that the nation's most dependable presenter was once branded as an unmanageable liability. Before he was steering The Chase, Gladiators, or starring alongside his son Barney in Breaking Dad, Bradley was just a working-class lad from Watford trying to find his footing. He started as an apprentice jet engineer at Rolls-Royce, pivoted to professional football with Brentford FC, only to have that dream brutally shattered by a career-ending injury. When he pivoted again to become a blue-coat entertainer at Pontins, most people would have assumed he'd finally found his natural home. But in a twist of dramatic irony that feels almost scripted, he was promptly sacked for messing around on the job. What makes that moment so poignant for television historians and casual viewers alike is the psychological shift that followed. Most people who get fired from an entry-level entertainment gig retreat in embarrassment. But Bradley had this sudden, brilliant epiphany that changed everything. He realized that the very quality that got him fired, his irrepressible, chaotic urge to mess around, wasn't a defect at all. It was his unique creative brand. He decided right then and there that if he was going to get sacked for acting the fool, he might as well find a way to get paid for it professionally. That self-awareness birthed his career as a physical comedian, taking inspiration from icons like Norman Wisdom, relying heavily on body language, expressive timing, and pure visual instinct rather than polished punchlines. That raw, physical comedy background gave him something rare in modern television, an unforced, completely authentic warmth. When he transitioned into heavy dramatic acting, playing Danny Baldwin in Coronation Street, D.S. Ronnie Brooks in Law and Order, UK, and Graham O'Brien in Doctor Who, audiences didn't just accept him, they embraced him because his screen presence carries zero pretension. You can see that exact same emotional honesty every afternoon on ITV. When a contestant falters on The Chase, Bradley isn't just reading a teleprompter. His posture softens, his eye contact becomes grounded, and he offers a genuinely empathetic laugh that diffuses high-stakes studio pressure in seconds. That brings us to 2009, a pivotal moment in broadcast history that almost didn't happen. The story of how he landed The Chase feels like a masterclass in quiet confidence. He literally walked into the ITV headquarters, asked the head of daytime television what new projects were in the pipeline, and took a look at a fledgling quiz show concept. When she mentioned they were doing a low-key office run-through to see if the format worked, Bradley didn't demand a grand audition or high-level guarantees. He simply said he would do it for her, no worries at all. That effortless willingness to throw himself into an unproven idea created a juggernaut that now pulls in over 2.5 million devoted viewers per show. Which is precisely why the recent media storm surrounding the show's filming schedule sent such a shockwave through the viewing public. When reports began circulating claiming that no fresh episodes of The Chase would be recorded for over a year, you could feel a wave of genuine panic sweeping through fan communities online. For a moment, it felt like the end of an era, leaving people wondering if behind-the-scenes exhaustion or shifting television priorities were finally catching up with the beloved host. Thankfully, ITV stepped in swiftly to calm the waters, clarifying that Series 19 had successfully wrapped its recording schedule as planned, with a seamless mix of brand-new episodes and classic repeats continuing to air throughout the year. But what's even more thrilling for fans looking ahead is that the franchise isn't slowing down at all. With a fresh installment of Beat the Chasers set for 2026, alongside an ambitious new spin-off series, The Chase Around the World, It's clear that Bradley's empire is expanding globally rather than shrinking. Looking back at the entire arc, there's something deeply satisfying about watching a man who was once sacked for messing around end up building a legendary television legacy on his own terms. It reminds us why British audiences hold him in such high regard. He represents the triumphant underdog who refused to conform to rigid corporate expectations. Maybe what stayed with viewers when these headlines broke wasn't just the fear of losing a daily routine, but a profound appreciation for a presenter who turned his greatest flaw into his greatest strength. What did you make of the initial headlines when you first heard them? Did you panic about the schedule, or did you trust that Bradley would keep delivering the magic? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.